Hi, kindergarten. It's Miss Cliff. Today we're going to read a level H book called Brother Messy, Brother Neat. While we read today, we're going to be talking about problem and solution. So before we begin reading, let's take a look at the front cover and the title page to make some predictions about what we think the story will be about. So let's look at this front cover here. Think about the title, Brother Messy, Brother Neat. What do you see happening here? Let's look at the title page. Brother Messy, Brother Neat. So I want you to stop right now. I want you to make a prediction. What you're going to do is you're going to predict what you might read about in this book. So we know that good readers make predictions about what will happen. And it's more important to be able to use clues to make predictions than it is being right. So it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, if your prediction is correct or not correct. What is important is that you are using clues to make predictions. So I want you to pause the video and I want you to predict what might you read about in this book. Now that you've made a prediction, we're going to stop and think about your room. Now, if I'm thinking about messy, I'm thinking about that his room might be dirty and things aren't put away. And neat, I'm thinking about being organized and everything is in its place. So I want you to stop and think, are you a messy person or are you a neat person? I want you to pause the video and turn and talk with a parent or sibling about that now. All right, let's get into our book. Now that we have our prediction, we're going to check back later to see if our prediction was correct. Let's go ahead and read together. Pablo was messy. There's that word again. And I can tell that he's messy because look, his room is dirty. He's got paper all over the floor. His toys aren't put away. His bed is not made. He has things everywhere, right? His room is kind of dirty. Let's keep reading. He liked to draw whenever he could. Let's keep reading together. Nico was neat. Remember that word neat from the title? We know that he's putting his books away. His bed looks made. Look, he's even got his shirt tucked in. All his books look organized on the shelves. He looks very neat. Let's keep reading. He liked to organize whatever he could. So already we're seeing some differences between the two characters, aren't we? Let's keep reading. When their sister Maria was born, the boys had to share a room. How do you think they're feeling about that? I'm not sharing a room with that slob, Nico said. What do you think a slob is? Why would Nico be pointing to his brother and calling him a slob? What do you think that word could mean? It's another word for messy, right? His brother doesn't clean up after himself, so he's calling him a slob. Let's keep reading. How can I do anything fun when everything is so clean? Pablo asked. Find a way to work it out, their mother said. Okay, so let's stop here. I want you to think about what is the problem? What's happening in the story between those two brothers? What is the problem? I want you to pause the video and turn and talk with a parent or sibling and discuss what the problem is in the story. The problem I'm seeing in the story is that Pablo and Nico have to share a room and they don't want to. So let's see what they do to solve their problem. Let's read together. Their first week together, Pablo slept in the closet. It's too clean out there, Pablo said. Because remember, Pablo is the messy brother. He likes to have things messy. Let's read. The closet was too dark at night, though. Pablo moved back into their room. So Pablo tried to solve the problem, didn't he? He tried to sleep in the closet. I want you to stop and think, did this solve or fix the problem? Pause the video and turn and talk with a parent or sibling to discuss, did this solve Pablo's problem? No, it did not solve his problem. He slept in the closet, but it was still too dark for him, so he had to come back out into the room, but he's still sharing his room with Nico, even though it's still too clean and organized for Pablo. Okay, let's see if they can solve it a different way. Read with me. The second week, Nico put tape on the floor. You stay on your side, Nico said. All right, so there's the tape down the middle. There's Nico's side, nice and neat. And there's Pablo's side, very messy. Do you think this is going to solve the problem? Let's find out. Let's read. Nico had to cross the line every day to leave the room, though. He pulled up the tape. Oh, goodness. So Nico put that tape up, but he had to cross every day to get out of his door. There's his door there that says exit. So I want you to think, did Nico solve the problem by putting tape down the middle of the room? I want you to pause the video and turn and talk with a parent or sibling about if this solved or fixed the problem. No, it did not solve or fix the problem. They still had the problem because Nico had to cross the line to get out of the room. So let's stop and think. What do you predict they're going to do to solve their problem? I want you to pause the video and make a prediction. Now remember, it's okay if you're wrong and it's okay if you're right. What matters is that you're thinking about clues in the story about what they're going to do to come together and solve their problem. So pause the video, make a prediction, and then come on back to me. All right, let's see if your prediction is correct. Let's read together. The third week, they decided to come up with rules. First rule is you can't organize my stuff without asking me, Pablo said. Second rule is you can't use my stuff without asking me, Nico said. So what did they do to solve their problem? I'm wondering if the prediction you made was correct. Let's keep reading. They thought up a list of 15 rules they promised they wouldn't break. At the end, they both agreed on one more thing. Look at all these rules that they wrote out. We need to paint our room. Let's keep reading. Lucky for them, they both agreed on what to paint. So, was your prediction correct? That's okay if it wasn't. What I want you to do now is think about how they solved their problem. Remember, their problem was they had to share a room, but they couldn't get along because one was messy and one was neat. So I want you to pause the video and I want you to turn and talk with a parent or sibling about how they solved their problem. They solved their problem by making a set of rules, didn't they? If we go back in the text, we can see that they came up with their room rules, a list of 15 rules that they agreed upon together about sharing their room and things that they would follow to keep each other accountable. So that's how they solved their problem. Great job reading today. Now we're going to get ready for our writing activity. For your writing assignment today, you are going to think about what would happen if you had to share a room. So what you're going to do is you're going to write 3 to 5 sentences about it. You're going to make sure you double check for capital letters at the beginning of each sentence, spaces between your words, and punctuation at the end of each sentence. So that means a period or an exclamation point or a question mark. Before you finish the quick check for comprehension page, I want you to go back and reread this book all by yourself. And then I want you to finish this writing assignment, and you will upload both of those assignments into Google Classroom. So I hope you had fun with our book today, and I will see you next time, friends. Bye.